There's been a long tradition at the Disney Company of respecting the previous CEOs of the company, whether or not it's Walt Disney or all the way up to Michael Eisner. Well, Bob Iger isn't waiting until after he's gone from the company to find out what building they'll be naming after him. No, the Robert A. Iger building is now built, and Bob Iger put his name right on it. And you know what they make in that building? Well, you're going to find out here. It's the most Bob Iger thing that Bob Iger has ever made. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Let's talk about this. Bob Iger names Walt Disney Company's New York headquarters after himself.
I couldn't believe it.
What a shock. Look at him right there. He's a happy fella. The Walt Disney Company's new New York City headquarters, located at 7 Hudson Street, doesn't bear the name of company founder and visionary Walt Disney. Instead, the state-of-the-art facility is named the Robert A. Iger Building.
Yes, the Robert A. Iger Building.
This isn't the first time a company facility was named after a Disney CEO. After all, the former Team Disney building that houses Bob Iger's infamous office with a shower in it is called the Michael D. Eisner Building, bearing the name of Iger's predecessor as CEO. You could argue that we treated Eisner too poorly there. Maybe he needed to be,
yes, we did.
Yeah, maybe he needed a little bit more help there at the end, but wow. However, there's one major difference here. Eisner left the company in 2005. The building was renamed in 2006. That means Eisner didn't actively decide to name a building after himself. There's also a building dedicated to Frank G. Wells, the former president of the Walt Disney Company from 1984 to 1994. Obviously a great run there for Frank Wells. May he rest in peace. Yeah. But once again, he didn't name the building after himself. Nope. Rather, Eisner, who worked closely with Wells, dedicated the building to him in 1998. Guys,
it's amazing.
Naming a building after yourself. It's not a Bob Iger animatronic, so there's at least that.
Yeah, I would prefer that, to be fair, rather than Walt.
Well, yes, rather than Walt. I've made this joke several times on the channel, or made this observation here that if the company is going to be making Walt into an animatronic and they don't think that's disrespectful, just go ahead, have a Bob Iger animatronic and let Bob Iger have no oversight over what that Bob Iger animatronic says, and see how comfortable Bob is with that. So we do have a picture of the building here. I don't know if you've seen it here, but here it is.
It looks incomplete. Yeah, no. So it's very suited. It's very suitable to be named Robert A. Iger.
With the 2 showers.
Here we have a couple of shower heads, and this was provided by Captain John D. I love this meme here, and I want to say thank you very much to Captain John D. for allowing us to steal your meme without permission. As I've heard online, memes are not dank until they are stolen.
Yeah, it's true. I gotta ask you, beyond the shower heads, is this one of those buildings by that architect who puts all the outside stuff or in the inside stuff outside? Because it is not attractive.
Yeah, it's generic corporate building to me. It's not really interesting in any way, which is something that they really want to capture the spirit of Bob Iger by having something corporate and sterile and mistreating of the intellectual property that is underneath him. Bob Iger is still very much the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, which means he himself approved plans to name the company's East Coast headquarters after himself. Eisner also added new iconic elements to the company, including Disney's MGM Studios in Orlando and Disney's California Adventure in Anaheim. He also oversaw the opening of Disneyland Paris. I prefer to call it Euro Disney, but that's my own preferences there. Marvin, you're doing a great job.
I was trying to be accurate to the times.
Yes, that's right. And Hong Kong Disneyland. Iger, on the other hand, added no parks to Disney's domestic offerings and oversaw Shanghai Disneyland Park. Shanghai Disneyland, a park that faces significant challenges. Iger's most common contribution to the company has been using its expansive checkbook to purchase studios and properties like Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and 20th Century Fox.
I like to think that I captured the essence of his ineptitude with that passage.
I mean, look at Pixar now. Yes, they're making money again, but yikes. At what cost? Inside Out 2 is a shadow of its former self. It's characters that happen to have the same names, but it's really nothing compared to the masterpiece of the original Lucasfilm. I think they have a show on right now. I'm just joking. We're talking about Skeleton Crew tonight on the Pro Show at probably around 9:30 or 10 tonight. But don't worry. We've also got some other things planned in there because Skeleton Crew is we're back to just bland as opposed to offensive on Skeleton Crew. Marvel is currently rehiring all of the actors that they hired them when they were unknowns, and they have continued so long that the actors are no longer unknowns. And of course, 20th Century Fox, 70 million. Sorry, that would be actually a great deal. $70 billion in order to buy 20th Century Fox so that they could have a shot at paying, what, 25 billion, sorry, in order to get the rest of Hulu. So fantastic job, Bob. Fantastic. And of course, that means the company's future is secure at this point, right? New York City and Walt Disney have a long history with one another. Steamboat Willie, and by extension Mickey Mouse himself, debuted at the Colony Theater in Manhattan. New York was also the home to the 1964 to 65 World's Fair, where Walt introduced the world to audio animatronic technology and a large scale with It's a Small World and the Carousel of Progress. Carousel of Progress. I love Carousel of Progress. It is just so perfectly Walt Disney. It's optimistic. It's both Magic Kingdom and Epcot combined. This idea of a bright and hopeful, not only is now the best time, but also that there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. I forgive me if I break into song here.
There's
with all this
great,
in mind,
big, beautiful tomorrow.
That's it.
Shining at the end of every day.
And tomorrow is just a dream away. It's a perfect encapsulation of everything that Disney was doing in 1960. And I don't want to be beholden to the 1960s, but when Bob Iger says the same thing, it means that he wants to put weirdo things in the movies and also try really hard to compete with Universal, even though Universal does the same thing with less resources and still outclasses them. Amazing. With all this in mind, it might have been a nice gesture on Iger's part to pay homage to the rich history of the company's founder, a beloved national institution, with the christening of the Disney New York headquarters, but instead he named it after himself. There he is. The suspicious-looking fellow right there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Marvin, you wrote this article. Do you have anything that you want to throw in here? You did an excellent article, by the way.
Thank you. It's just a matter of sheer hubris in the face of all of his failures of late that he felt the need to. Here's the thing. New York City and Walt Disney are very, connected with each other. Steamboat Willie debuted in New York City, the World's Fair, obviously, where we brought in all that other stuff. And so you could have made a Walt Disney building in New York City, and it would have made sense, have been a nice homage. Instead, I guess because he a weatherman in New York or something like that. I guess
yes, he was.
Yeah, because he incorrectly predicted the weather in New York City. We had to name this state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar building after him, and it's just absolutely insulting.
And the thing that we have saved for the last on this, and I'm really glad that you put this in the article, Marvin, is what happens in the Bob Iger building here? The thing that we now associate with the Walt Disney Company. Oh, you guys, especially if you're a WDW Pro fan, you know about this show. The View is now taping in the Robert A. Iger building in New York.
You know what? Maybe it is an apropos name.
Yeah. That is the perfect encapsulation of Bob Iger's contribution to the Walt Disney Company. He was a purchase along with ABC, and now The View is his contribution to the image of the Walt Disney Company. So, reading this again, the New York headquarters will house studios for live shows and events like The View. It's an electric facility with solar panels and green technologies designed to reduce the company's carbon footprint within the Big Apple. They're already filming episodes of The View in there, and I just have to say, The View is essentially a series of legal notes, read by Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin here, as they have to apologize for things that they said that they legally cannot say without opening up the Walt Disney Company to liability.
Quick reminder, Sonny Houston is supposedly an attorney, so she should know better.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about attorneys. And ours is good, and Legal Mindset is good.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of attorneys out there that they get the qualification so that they can say they have the qualification, and then they just stop reading. So Motley 0102 for $5. What if Iger is a force of destruction planted to destroy Disney from the inside out? At this point, wouldn't surprise me. It gives me anxiety. I don't think he's meaning to do it, but I do think that Bob Iger is really tired of being told, well, this is how Walt would have done it. This is how Disney would do it. I think there's sufficient record of that.
Actually, I would like some of those insights, right? Actually, the way he's going about doing things isn't good, so he probably should be grateful for somebody to say, Walt would do this, and maybe following that kind of advice would be helpful to the Disney company.
Randy Thodo or Randy T. Hodo. Hunter Biden is an attorney, just saying.
So was Kamala Harris. So,
he paid his way through law school with his artwork, though. That guy right there. Guys, I think that Bob Iger probably should have waited another 10 years and let the Disney company name it after him. And where's the Bob Chapek building? That's what I want to know. The fact that the parks are still making them money, that's Bob Chapek right there. And now Josh D'Amaro is going the complete wrong direction with that. He is Bob Chapek to an even greater degree, although Bob Chapek was under Bob Iger. And Bob Iger liked him so much that he named him CEO as he was stepping down to avoid accountability for everything he probably knew about COVID. Did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did.
You did.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.